Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is 4 Paws in a Book. I make bookish videos over here on my little corner of the internet, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Today we're going to be reading 3 anticipated romances for the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024. Somehow I have been blessed by the Netgally gods because I have 3 romances that are highly anticipated by me, but also by everyone on the internet. So today I'm going to be reading them. I have 2 contemporary romances and 1 paranormal fantasy romance. The first one is going to be Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner. This was comped as Ted Lasso but make it gay, and like, tell me less. I really liked Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner, which was their book last year. And Meryl had posted a tweet that like had me intrigued, that was like, if you liked the shower scene in Mistakes Were Made, there's one in Cleat Cute as well. And again, say less. I love the resurgence of sports romances happening both in indie and traditional publishing, so this one was definitely high up on my radar this year. The second one is A Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, me and Ali, we have a complicated relationship, we'll say that. Okay, I really didn't like The Love Hypothesis. I did not think it was realistic. I did not buy the couple. It was a mess. Like, the book was a mess. So when I went into Love on the Brain, I had very low expectations, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. I haven't read her novellas, and I haven't read Love Theoretically yet, but when this one came up, I had to request it. This is a paranormal romance with a vampire and a werewolf. And we all know, as is Allie's signature move, he will be the largest werewolf in existence and she will be a tiny little vampire. This one I'm going in with pretty tempered expectations. Like I said, I enjoyed Love on the Brain. I had a good time with it. And I have heard a couple of good things about Bride, so we will see. Finally, what is probably my most anticipated romance of the year, we have Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I've had this arc for so long. Months. Fortunately, it doesn't come out until late October, so I still have some time to get a review out before publishing, hence this video. But I've had it for way longer than what was necessary. I just kind of forgot that it existed because it was on my Kindle until I decided to make a video. This is the 3rd and final book in the Bright Falls series. We had Delilah Green Doesn't Care, we have Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, and now Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. They are 3 sapphic relationships, and they have been favorites of the year when I read them, so I have high expectations for this one. This has some fake dating, which is one of my favorite tropes, and I feel like it's gonna be a good time. So without further ado, let's get into the vlog portion of this video. About 20% of the way through Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner. I had high expectations for this one because it's soccer gaze, right? And I also really loved Mistakes Were Made. I know that's kind of an unpopular opinion. A lot of people didn't love this one as much, but I loved that one. I thought it was hot, it was steamy. And when the author tweeted that, they said something like, you remember the shower scene in Mistakes Were Made? There's one in Cleat Cute too. If you know, you know. And like, I'm very much looking forward to this. So that's one of the reasons why it immediately went onto my anticipated releases. It's one of my like most anticipated releases of the second half of the year. And this book has been really fun so far. So it's about a captain of the US national soccer team. She's also the captain of her club team, like her professional soccer team. And like, she's been around the block. She is a little older than the rest of the girls. She's very much like the Roy Kent character in this, because like it's kind of been comped as Ted Lasso but make it gay. And then we have the new kid on the block, the new rock star, and she is up and coming. She was just drafted, and she's also made a spot on the national team, or she's like trying out. She's like in the running for a spot on the national team. And they're feisty together, okay? Like, they are feisty. She thinks that she can outdo Grace, and it's like she makes a bet like, hey, I can beat you on this drill, and like everyone's kind of in on it, and they're like, oh, you owe me a kiss or something like that. And it's just like really fun and funny, and yeah, I'm excited to continue on with this. I'm headed into work right now. I will hopefully be able to finish this today. I don't know, because I do have some meetings and stuff, but like, man, I just want to listen to this book all day. It's really good. I will say, I don't know that the narrator is my favorite. There's, I don't know, like it sounds like it's almost like one of her first books that she's narrated. I know that that's not true, but it just doesn't seem as like confident, and there's like a little, like there's some places where it seems the reading seems a little bit clinical. So I'm not sure that the narrator is my favorite, but the book is good so far. So I'll touch base with you later. I don't know that this audio is gonna work, so we might have to do this later, but I just finished Cleat Cute, and it's my favorite book of the year. Like, hands down, my favorite book of the year. It's undiagnosed ADHD rep. It's like maybe autism rep, like she's kind of self-diagnosing herself. And it's, oh, and soccer gaze, like, you know, oh my gosh. This book is 5 stars, obviously. Go buy this book right now. This book was perfection. This book was absolute perfection. Like, I liked Mistakes Were Made, and I knew I was going to like this, but it took me 9 months, but a book made me cry today. I love this book so much. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for everybody else to read it. It comes out on Tuesday, so it's not going to take very long. I texted Michelle and Aoife, and I was like, hello, hi, you need to read this book right now. It is absolutely just, it's perfect. This book is perfect. I can see people not loving it, but like for me, I've never been so seen in a book before. There are so many people driving by right now, and they're so loud. But anyway, oh my gosh, this book was so good. So good. There's so many conversations about being queer and what that label means, and like which label means what, like in a very personal way. Like, yeah, sure, it's like queer info dumping, but it's done in such a personal way, where Grace is like, I'm firmly attached to my lesbian identity and that label, and Phoebe is very attached to her queer label. Yeah, okay. It's so good. So good. The fact that we talked about ADHD symptoms during sex, obviously they weren't talking about like sex and like, you know, they weren't talking about ADHD while having sex. That's not what I mean. But they were talking about how ADHD affects having sex. And that is representation that you don't see enough. And it is just absolutely fantastic. And I need more of this. I wanted this book to be so much longer. I would have gone 100 pages. We could have had 100 more pages, and I would have been in love with these characters. I love Grace and Phoebe. We are now a Grace and Phoebe stan household. This book was perfection. That's all there is to say about this. Okay, moving on to the next book. Hi, hello. I'm reading Bride. By Allie Hazelwood. I'm about 25% of the way in, so I thought I would come touch base with you, come check in, and it's a time for sure. Now listen, I had hesitations going into this book. It's definitely a book that everyone is talking about. If you don't know, Allie Hazelwood is the one that wrote like the STEM romances. She's the one that has like the big burly men and the tiny little women. And this is no exception, right? You have a big werewolf and a tiny little vampire. And it's supposed to be like a political marriage, a marriage of convenience, where she is going to be wed to this werewolf, so that there is peace among the vampires and the werewolves. It's a thing, okay? This book is so poorly written. So like, the love hypothesis was bad. Love on the Brain was pretty good, and I haven't read Love Theoretically yet. This book is written like a KU monster romance. And no shade to KU monster romances, but like, they are what they are. And I thought traditionally published paranormal romances would be different. It's not, okay? Let's just talk about some of these things. Let's find the highlights. I'm reading it on my Kindle. I'm only on chapter 7, so we only have 2 highlights so far, but the first one is in chapter 2, and apparently his jaw is so like sharp, whatever, that he invented bone structure. What does that even mean? Don't know. But this one is worse. Chapter 4. I pick up a ladle or a spatula. I forget which one is which. I brought props. Friends, I brought props. So we got a ladle It's for like soup or chili or, you know, liquidy things that you can like scoop up and then pour into your bowl. That's what a ladle is, okay? A spatula is flat, okay? It's flat. It's for like getting things off of a cookie sheet, like cookies. They're very different. They look very different. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they could care. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna continue reading this. I've also roped Brittany into reading it. We're on sprints together. She's gonna start reading it too, so we can commiserate together. Okay, I'm gonna go back to reading now. Well, that sucked. I finished Bride. I'm giving it 1 star. If I put books that had not been published yet on my worst books of the year, this would be on it. This was not well written at all. First, let's talk about the vampire and the werewolf. Just the actual like grammatical choices that were made. So we are vampire, but spelled with a Y. So it's like vampire. And then we have the werewolves, which apparently the plural form of werewolf is were. W-E-R-E. Which when you're reading it just looks like were, which is the problem when you're trying to read a book. So that was a choice. This kind of ended up going like mafia romance, which is not my favorite type of romance. Like one of my least favorites, honestly. And it was just messy. There's so many ellipses, like so many in this book. I couldn't stand it. We are solely in her POV until the epilogue. Up until that, we're solely in her point of view, and she is just grinding to be in her head the whole time. It's not good. Like, I can't stand it when a woman of any variety weaponizes her incompetence, right? Like, she was trying to be so naive, so stupid, and like, she's not that dumb. Like, her family is one of the leaders in the vampire community, right? So like, that's why she has this political marriage to a werewolf, is to like keep the peace. And yet, like, it seems like Shia knows absolutely nothing about werewolf lore or werewolf politics or like science, like, you know, I don't know, like how shifting happens, how, like, she's so stupid. Like, so stupid. There was one time where she was like, the full moon came 3 days early. And that's not how science works. That's not how moon cycle, I could tell you, if you look on a calendar, you can tell when the moon, like what is going to be the moon cycle years in advance. So it doesn't, it's not like your period that comes early. What? No, this was just so bad, and I question whether or not this is actually a new book or if it was like something she wrote years and years and years ago, and now that she's an established author, she's gonna try to publish it. It was 1 star. And I will leave you with this in the epilogue. When you're finally in his POV, he says the words to her during sex, he says, "I want to live inside you." And I'm just gonna leave you with that little nugget of information. Well, on to the next book. Let's hope the last one is better. Hi, we're on to our last book for the romance vlog, and that is going to be Iris Kelly, It Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blake. This is book 3 in the Bright Falls trilogy, which is Delilah Green and Astor Parker, and now Iris Kelly. This has been one of my most anticipated books of the entire year, right? I had this arc months ago, and I somehow didn't read it for one reason or another. Probably because it was on my Kindle, and I struggle with object permanence sometimes. Anyways, this is one of my most anticipated books of the year. It comes out in October, like later in the month as you are seeing this. And Delilah and Astrid were some of my favorite books of 2022 when I read them last year. I think they like as a collective made number 2 on my spot. So that's saying something about this book. I wanted to check in with you earlier, but I didn't necessarily have a ton to talk about. But let's just recap, okay? So this is about Iris and Stevie. They are fake dating, and it's kind of cute. Stevie has anxiety, right? She's got a lot going on in her life. She has panic attacks, and she has this type of anxiety where she really like hones in and on what like how others perceive her. And honestly, the anxiety rep is a bit too real for me, because I'm stressed for her, and then like sometimes kind of like secondhand embarrassment, you know? That's a problem, unfortunately. And so the reason why I didn't want to check in sooner is because I actually wasn't loving this book at the very beginning, because like I said, the anxiety rep was a lot. And it was hard for me to like really see the romance because of all of the mental health issues that were happening. And like, I understand it. I understand that that's like a realistic depiction of anxiety. Trust me, I know. But like, she makes me look normal, and I'm not normal at all. Anyway, so it was just hard for me to like escape into a book. Does that make sense? Because like when I read a book, I'm trying to escape it. And when I'm faced with my own anxiety in said book, I don't know, I just wasn't I wasn't enjoying it as much, which is fine. It happens. But now that we have gotten farther into the book, I do really, really love Iris and Stevie. Now, like, Iris is, I don't know, I don't remember her being as like abrasive, harsh, like no nonsense, very blunt type of person. I don't remember her being like that in the first books, but it has been a while since I've read them, so it could be. Anyway, I'm still liking the book, but I don't know that it's my favorite in the series, unfortunately. So that's a bummer. But like, it's still like 4 stars at this point, and I think I have about an hour left of the audiobook, so we'll just take it from there. Hello, it's a little bit later, and I finished Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but it's definitely my least favorite of the 3, and that's a bummer, because I've heard really good things about this one. But I really, really, really am tired of the trope of crazy ex-girlfriends. Like, why? Like, Stevie's friends are literally the worst. And they're just trying to start shit, and they're trying to start drama. And the last 2 sapphic books that I read, not counting Cleat Cute because I read another one in between this, but the last 2 sapphic books I've read have both had one of the partner's ex-girlfriends coming in and trying to stir shit up, and it's annoying. I'm done with it. So that is tainted it. And then also like the third act conflict, I think, was a little bit lazy. There's a lot of miscommunication, but like, you haven't really established your relationship yet, so you're kind of expecting communication that you may not necessarily deserve. So that also was a little bit frustrating, but I still I enjoyed the book, and I think that they balance each other out really well, because Stevie does have really bad anxiety, but Iris knows how to calm her down. And then the same thing, like, Iris will kind of tailspin and Stevie knows how to calm her down. So like the two balance each other out well, and I appreciate that. But yeah, the third act conflict was a little bit messy, a little bit like we're overcomplicating things, and we didn't need to. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars, and that is going to be a wrap on our anticipated releases vlog for the romances. So we have 2 contemporaries and then a paranormal romance, fantasy romance, I guess. Urban fantasy romance, I think is the best way to explain it. 2 were hits, 1 was not. And I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that these are contemporary and these are, and this is paranormal. I don't think that that is the distinguishing factor here. Plus, it's all 3 authors that I have read before. So I think that these are just well written, and this one is not. Anyways, that's all I have for you. Cleat Cute is out. Go get it. Go pick it up right now. Iris Kelly Doesn't Date comes out this month, so based on when this video is coming out, it may be out, it may be coming out in the near future, so order it or pre-order it if you have read the other ones. This definitely has some cameos of Delilah and Claire and Astrid and Jordan, so like, you will know what happens in those books, but they're romances, so like you should already know what they are. I mean, it was a good finale. Plus the epilogue was really cute. It was, however, the weakest of the 3 books, unfortunately. So anyways, I do look like a hot mess tonight, but anyway, that's all I have for you today. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!